Hey everybody, so let's talk about the new Tamron teleconverters that have been out for about 5 or 6 months now. I wanted to share some insight with everyone and my personal experience with these teleconverters and which one I'd recommend buying. Just a disclaimer though, I did not do any real scientific testing with these teleconverters, so I always recommend you rent your gear before buying it. Now with that said, I personally own the 1.4 teleconverter and I rented the 2X teleconverter for photographing the moon. And before I talk about my results, let me show you a comparison of a full moon taken with the new Tamron 150 to 600 G2 lens with and without the teleconverter. Now I used the Nikon D7200 to take these shots, which also gave me some extra reach due to the crop sensor, so you should always take that in consideration. This comparison will help give you some scale so you can really see the difference between the teleconverters and what it looks like without the teleconverter. Now, bigger doesn't always mean better. Many people don't like teleconverters because you tend to sacrifice sharpness and the autofocus is a lot slower. Unfortunately, the same goes for these two teleconverters. When testing the teleconverters, I noticed that focusing with the 1.4 was decently responsive while the 2X did a lot of hunting. Now, if you're a wildlife photographer, this slow response time may cost you some shots. As far as sharpness, let me jump to the test chart. Now, since I was testing these teleconverters at the longest focal length, I had to shoot outdoors, so to be fair, this test was not in a controlled environment, so your results may vary slightly. Now, as I went through the various f-stops, I noticed that the 1.4 teleconverter's optimal sharpness on the 150 to 600 G2 lens was between f9 to f14. The 2X teleconverter seemed to be the sharpest at f13 through f16, so I decided to compare the teleconverters at f14. As we zoom in, we can see that the 1.4X is sharper than the 2X, which is a typical finding among many teleconverters. The question we want to answer between the two is the 1.4 teleconverter sharp enough that you can crop it to the same size as a 2X teleconverter and still retain quality? For that answer, let's compare these two images of the moon. The one on the right was taken with the 2X teleconverter and the one on the left was taken with the 1.4X teleconverter. Then I increased the size to match the 2X converter. If we zoom in, we can see the 1X teleconverter has a slight advantage in sharpness. We can really see the difference here in the craters mostly. So just from these tests I did alone, I would have to recommend the 1.4X teleconverter over the 2X for the obvious reasons. You have less hunting with your autofocus with the 1.4, and the images are sharper so they could be cropped to the equal size as the 2X, but still have better quality. Now, if you're an enthusiast, the 2X teleconverter is alright, but if you need the sharpest image possible and better performance, the 1.4 teleconverter is the way to go. The 1.4 does sacrifice some sharpness as well, so I do urge people to try it before they buy it. I hope this helps you with your decision making in the future. Thanks for watching.